started off as a PG podcast, but then Devin just kept on dropping shits and fucks, and
I'm just trying to figure out what's in her mouth.
I just want to see him interview Francesco Aquilini.
No, he's a good human being, is what he would say about himself. I'm sure.
Who's hosting this thing?
Take charge, Kevin. Would you? Jesus.
First time we ever met those guys. That was the major drunken pub argument.
I think you guys are the worst.
I'm gonna have to probably watch some Canucks hockey, unfortunately.
Just making friends left, right, and center, and probably some enemies as well.
Tell him to shut up. He needs to hear that every once in a while.
Off to a good start.
All right. We are live.
It's okay to talk when it goes live.
This one was for John Barris. Welcome to the Hockey Podcast. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at podcast_hockey, Facebook.com, where we're live, the Hockey Podcast, YouTube.com, the Hockey Podcast, where we are currently sitting at 100 and Rasmus Anderson of subscribers now, moving up the ladder slowly but surely. And of course, you can subscribe to the audio as well. And I'm not flying solo tonight. Joining me is Devin. Hello, Devin. How are you?
Hey, Kev. I'm fantastic. What a great win. Apologies yesterday for not jumping on with you, but I'm happy to be here now to talk about a Toronto win.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, things happen. Life happens. You can't always be there, but it happens. We got through it. We got through it. We survived. And we're on to the next one here. So, yes, the Toronto Maple Leafs, we're here to recap their 5-1 win over the Montreal Canadiens, tying the series at 1. And with this game, the Montreal Canadiens got off to a good start. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, pardon me, scored the first goal. By the way, if you have any comments, questions, post them. We will get to them as we go through this. Jesperi Kotkaniemi and the Canadiens actually got off to a good start in this game. It was 1-0, and then Jason Spezza scored. And then the Canadiens, basically the second period was penalty trouble. And the Toronto Maple Leafs power play, which was struggling, came alive in this series and put the Canadiens away. And but overall for the Toronto Maple Leafs, after everything else with the emotion of losing John Tavares, we're glad he's okay. It sounds like he also sustained a knee injury as well during that play as well. So we're glad he's okay. I think looks like the Leafs rallied around him in that situation and they were able to enforce their will. And particularly, we'll talk from the Leafs perspective here first. We'll get into what happened here with the Canadiens, because there was some head scratching things happening there for sure. But Austin Matthews had a really strong end, and I think that's where that engine starts. And he was great tonight.
Yeah, he was. I was a little concerned at the beginning of the game. The bottom two lines, so the Spezza line, Thornton line, and then the Kerfoot, Engvall, and Mikheyev line. Those two lines were the ones that were driving the bus at the beginning of the game, which was a bit concerning. Montreal did start off strong and took it to the Leafs in the first half of the first period, and I was a little concerned watching Nylander back away from getting into the corner. He was scared of being hit, along with Marner. Marner was not. He wasn't really popping like he normally does, and they just looked like they're a bit scared. But they slowly came out of it. They had a couple of strong shifts midway through the first period, and after Kotkaniemi scored, they were able to have a good pushback. And happy to see that that Spezza goal, that was awesome. The Matthews goal, what a great shot by Hall, just to go for a pad for a rebound, and Matthews driving hard to the net was able to pop that in there. And yeah, the power play is a bit concerning. It's hard to critique a win, but good teams and good players will critique a win. And break it down a little bit to see, okay, what can we do better what can we do better to build off of this momentum? And the power play is definitely it. Kev, it was funny that you started talking about Sandin, and guess what? Sandin scored.
I was waiting. That only took 5 minutes and 35 seconds for me to feel that heat. I was waiting. I was like timing. When am I going to get the Rasmus Sandin hit?
Yes, he's perfect on that power play. He really is. He's a smaller defenseman, mobile, is able to move the puck around. It reminds me of watching the difference between Mark Giordano last year and when they got in Gustafsson, and how much of a difference it kind of gives a bit more of a dynamic look on that pivot point right at the top of the offensive zone to set up the power play. So I'm super happy for him. They're talking about saying Sandin can take all the shots that he wants. If he's standing still and he's just taking a wrister or a slap shot, yeah, it's not as powerful as you would want it to be. But off a one-timer, obviously, had it 6 inches above the ice, right over the pad. It was a beautiful shot. So suck it, Kev.
Wow. I'm on your list.
I'm just kidding.
My gosh. I don't know if I deserve that.
You didn't.
The power, even the second power play was moving the puck around pretty well with Spezza, Simmons, Morgan Riley. The skilled guys for the Leafs were better than the skilled guy for the Canadiens for the most part. Today, I mean, they got off to a good start. But I just think as the game wore on, it was the Toronto Maple Leafs that were able, I think, to use their skill and their speed. They created the Canadiens. They created penalties for the Canadiens, and they just couldn't match them in any way, shape, or form. And I really think also the face-off circle is a telling difference in this one, where the Leafs dominated. The Canadiens won the face-off battle last game. This game, it was 66% to 34%. The Leafs won the first 6 faceoffs in this game as well. So they were in control throughout.
They definitely were. And this is what we expected going into the series, that they were going to be outskilling. I know that's not a word, but the talent would shine more with Toronto than it would with the Montreal Canadiens. And I mean, credit to them for sending a message there at the end of the game that they're not going to be pushed around, and it sets up a good precursor for Game 3 and going forward here. So I'm really, really wanting more as far as I wish we had another game tomorrow to break down of this team, but they will have a back-to-back on Monday and Tuesday of this next coming week. So there'll be a nice little turnaround there to keep the fires going of passion that's becoming of this series.
Yeah, it's you were starting to see the fire in most of these playoff series really ratchet it up to another level. And again, it's tough without fans in the stands again. And, we could play all the tragically hip new album, South Philadelphia, that we want to get us into the mood. The fans are not there. And that still is a bit of a frustrating moment for sure. But let's look at this from we got to get into this here. It was baffling to me. It's 2-1. The Leafs score 2 straight power plays. They just score on the power play, and the Canadiens decided to challenge the goal, and I'm just going to pull it up here. I am baffled at that decision. I did not see anything remotely close to anything to goaltender interference there. I am so confused by what the Canadiens were thinking there.
Looking at the what the broadcast showed and of the general manager's suite of Mark Bergevin, it looked like he was making the call. Did it not?
Yeah, it actually. You got a good point.
Right, and like, what are you going to say? No to the GM who's hired you? I don't know what he was thinking. It made zero sense. And I think the reason why it took so long to review is because even the refs were like, I don't know what we're looking for here, but they were thorough enough to look throughout the entirety of the play and different angles, and obviously they came out with the same verdict that we had. I would say the majority of the people watching had.
Yeah, I'm trying to find, and just give me a second here. I'm being Ron McLean and trying to find the goal, or find any reason for it. But it's just it. I think what if I'm from the Canadiens' perspective, what would frustrate me about that is you just had 2 straight penalties. You just allowed a goal. And like it wasn't like one penalty and then a minute later. It was Lehkonen got the penalty right after they killed that off. So they're already on the power play. The Leafs are already back on the power play, and then you're going to put them back into a power play. It just killed any momentum that the Canadiens potentially could get.
Yeah, the timing of it made, like, I can understand what the thought process was, but it just, I don't know. That's one thing they need to do is stay out of the box. And if there's any way that they can do that and not, and the coaching staff or upper management can keep their hands out of that as well, unless it's 100% blatant that the goal should be disallowed, then don't call for that review, because obviously, yes, the power play for the Leafs have been struggling, but they have too much firepower on both those units to let them get into a groove and get out of this slump that they obviously are in or were in within the power play.
It just, I mean, you knew though, but however, from the Leafs perspective, you knew that they weren't going to sit on that for too much longer, but for sure. Jesperi Kotkaniemi got into the lineup. He did get a goal, but not a lot from the Canadiens in terms of offense. 0 for 1 on the power play, 34% in the face-off circle, 15 giveaways. Brendan Gallagher, no points, -1. Going through this here. Tyler Toffoli had an assist. Corey Perry didn't do much. Thomas Tatar didn't do much. Nick Suzuki, 3 hits, no shots on goal, 23% in the face-off circle. That guy, you need more from Nick Suzuki if you're going to win this series, for sure.
Yep. It is a lot for him to bear at being a young center in this league. I feel like he wasn't really quite himself, what we saw the year before, and what he has been this year. It might be the pressure. It might be him just, getting into a groove, a little sophomore slump, if you will. But in order for them to succeed, you're right, Kev, he needs to be better. And I feel like all of them need to be better. Care Price is doing what he needs to do, and which is make absolutely amazing saves. This loss is not on him, I don't think. I think that it's the team in front of them that really let them down.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, Carey Price was solid. I didn't think there was anything too bad with him. I thought, Jack Campbell had he had to make some big saves a little early in the game there when it was 1-0. I mean, Even that goal, he made a couple pretty good saves before Kotkaniemi scored. So he didn't have to be spectacular today, but he did get the job done.
Yeah, he did. Once again, critiquing a win is hard. And you have to tread lightly with what you say. But yeah, he wasn't. He played good enough to win, and that's all you need to do. That's all you ask for your goaltender, to give him a chance to win, and he did.
Yep. Pierre Engvall got into the lineup as well. I thought he was
Thankfully.
okay. Yeah. I think he was a guy that the Leafs did need in the lineup for sure. I would suspect, I think in Game 3 we're going to see Cole Caulfield for the Canadiens. I think that to me, you'll have to add him in the lineup. You need that skill. The Canadiens were certainly lacking that today.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to touch on Engvall for a second. You mentioned it on our last podcast with about Engvall, and that you were surprised he wasn't in the lineup. That third line is sneaky good. You have Kerfoot on there centering Mikheyev and Engvall. Mikheyev and Engvall are very similar players. They are high speed, high tempo, north south type of players. And Engvall, he had some fantastic chances. He had two amazing chances, and one almost snuck by Carey Price. Price just got enough of it, thankfully, for the Canadiens fans out there. But they are lacking skill, and I think it'd be ridiculous if they didn't put in Cole Caulfield for Game 3 and bring out. I don't know who you'd bring out. But I don't know. Who would you bring out of the Canadiens who didn't really pop for you?
I think it's a tough situation. Maybe Lehkonen. Corey Perry didn't do a heck of a lot tonight. 14 minutes of ice time, but nothing on the scoreboard. No hits, no shots, no blocks.
Well, do you think that's because of what happened last game?
Maybe you're not. But you're not taking a proven playoff performer like Corey Perry out. That's just complete nonsense.
No.
You need Paul Byron's speed. Joel Armia's played pretty well. The only one I would say, it's either Kotkaniemi, but you need him in. I think Lehkonen would be the guy that I would be taking out. But that would be my answer to that. So. Another thing with the Leafs that I think is Nick Foligno, 80% in the faceoff circle today.
Crazy. You know what? A plug and play like Nick Foligno, you can play up and down your lineup. Once the transaction came through that Toronto acquired him, I was over the moon happy, and there's some people who were thinking, okay, yeah, a decent transaction, but he's been spectacular. He's gotten a lot of flack for dropping the gloves with Corey Perry. If you guys watched our last one, I didn't have a problem with it. Kevin was questionable about whether or not Perry needed to answer to anybody because it was accidental, and but he's just so. Nick Foligno is just so good. It's just a Swiss Army knife. He's Zach Hyman-esque, a playoff performer, one guy you win with, and if there's any way that we could re-sign him in the offseason, I would love to see that. But obviously, Zach Hyman also is a UFA as well. Going into this offseason too, but the fact that he's 80%, I don't think I've ever heard that before. I don't think I've ever heard a player get over 60 to 75% on the face-up dot. So it's spectacular.
Yep, yeah. It's overall, like for the Leafs, really solid effort, good bounce back game. Series tied at 1, heading back to Montreal for back-to-back on Monday, Tuesday in Montreal. So I think that's going to be interesting there. Last time they played in a playoff series, game 3 and 4 was a back-to-back as well, but it was always back-to-back back in those days. Game 1 and 2 was also back-to-back. Mr. Chris Cuthbert, but I think he knew that. But
I think he did too.
Yeah. Anything else on this game that we need to chat about? Sorry, I couldn't pull up the replay of that goal, but the bottom line is it was a mysterious challenge.
Yeah, it definitely was. I just want to point out at the very end of the game, like we said before, setting the tone for game 3. You definitely will see Edmondson and Simmons go at it. I truly believe that. They'll drop the gloves eventually. So definitely looking forward to that.
I am curious, and I don't know what's going on here, but it's certainly, and maybe it's the Calgary Flame in me and realizing what he did last year, but I wonder if the Canadiens are going to bring in Eric Gustafsson at some point here in this series. Would seem to be a guy that can move the puck. Shea Weber played 22 minutes today. Your 5-6 defenseman is John Merrill, Brett Kulak. Can't see Gustafsson hurting them in any way, shape, or form. Well, maybe he could hurt defensively, but offensively, adding some more skill would certainly help.
It definitely would, especially on that power play. Once again, nothing against Shea Weber. Maybe a little bit less time on the power play, and we haven't really talked about Jeff Petrie either. Petrie, he's been quiet, and the Leafs have been able to shut him down. And considering what he's done and what he's done and who he's been for the Canadiens this year, just been just a scoring machine. So the good on Leafs for doing that. But yeah, like if you're going to bring Gustafsson in, he's a power play specialist that can definitely help you out on the power play, and that's something that they desperately need, because that power play is not popping like it should. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was Brett Kulak that gets the nudge out.
Yeah, I could see that as well. Shea Weber played 48 seconds on the power play, 5 minutes and 26 seconds killing penalties. Joel Edmondson played 6 minutes and 29 seconds killing penalties. Petrie 254 and Ben Sherratt was 306. So just to me, too much time killing penalties for the Canadiens. I think shooting themselves in the foot was part of that problem. But yeah. Let's just quickly touch on the other games. It looks like every other series is going to that today is going to go to 3-1. The Tampa Bay Lightning, Devin, I know how much you all love the Florida Panthers, but I there's no discounting experience, and the Tampa Bay Lightning's experience came to play in a 6-2 victory, winning both games in Tampa, finding another guy from the bottom of the pile to come up and be a star. Drawing a blank on the guy's name, Ryan, heck his name is, but the Tampa Bay Lightning just have too much experience. To me, experience and depth have turned out to be the difference in Tampa Bay. One win away from advancing to the second round.
You know what? I'm trying to figure that out. I'm trying to look up that guy's name too, but it was the goaltending that really let the Panthers down, which is super weird considering how well Driedger and Bobrovsky have played throughout this entire year. I mean, Bobrovsky, he's hit and miss, but he when he's on, he's amazing. But when he's off, it's absolutely terrible. So that is truly what happened there. I don't know, that first goal, if you haven't seen it, I don't understand what Barkov was thinking. So what happened was there's a play in the neutral zone right at the red line. Two Panthers players go on one guy, hit him, and the puck just squirts out to the middle of the ice. And who was it? Cirelli had a pure breakaway from the red line in, and blows it past Bobrovsky. But other than that, I thought that the Panthers played very, very well. I still hope that they're going to be able to make a series out of this. The back is against the wall right now, so they can stave off elimination. But yes, you are right, Kev. Lightning do have experience. They have the better goalie. And if there's one thing that we know about the playoffs, it's that good goaltending can take you very, very far. And right now, the Panthers don't have that.
Ross Colton was who I was drawing a blank on.
Ross Colton,
yeah. I mean, it's an interesting dilemma that the Panthers are in with Bobrovsky. I mean, I don't want to spoil my my expansion team that we're doing here, but I mean, it might have to. There might be the Kraken might have an opportunity to get the police investigator on the scene to be part of that Kraken franchise. They were looking for a goalie, but again, that salary is so much, and that's the part that's baffling. But that's the problem. But again, when you're Florida. Looking back, I mean, yes, it's one of those situations. What the hell? You look at a game like this and you're like, what the hell are you thinking? On one hand, on the other hand, the dilemma of like you got to pay.
You got to pay, and where their franchise is at right now, this is their window to win. Realistically, you have Huberdeau and Barkov, maybe just a bit past their peak of goodness. If not, it's going to be within the next 2 years that they are peaking. So I don't see. I understand what they were thinking, trying to get a good goaltender in there. They haven't had one since Van Beesbrook, from my recollection. You're
forgetting a man by the name of Roberto Luongo. I feel like Sean and Tyler and Chris are about to yell at you incessantly that you forgot Roberto Luongo.
What did he do for that franchise? I'm not saying
you're asking that question.
As far as championships, as far as getting into the playoffs, making sure that they have a competitive team. What was it? The 94.
That's not his fault.
I'm just saying.
Like that? No. That's not a good take. I disagree. No.
Okay, that's fine. It's okay to be wrong.
Luongo's overrated?
I'm not saying he was overrated, but like I was saying, what I'm saying is that Van Beesbrook was a part of their run to the playoffs, right? Or to the cup that 1 year.
Yes.
Was it 90?
It was 96.
Yes, 96. But it's not. I'm not saying it wasn't Roberto Luongo's fault. I'm trolling.
Okay, I was just like, wait a minute.
I'm trolling. At least I can admit that, unlike some other people. Wow,
I think there's subtle shots going on here.
Just a little bit. No, Luongo obviously did wonders for that organization, but and yes, it wasn't his fault. Whether or not they were a successful team, and he's been an amazing part of that franchise twice now. So other than those two, you're right. They did have to overpay for Bobrovsky, and he has won a Vezina, even though it wasn't in that shortened season. But he has proven that he has been able to do it. But yeah, who made that? Was it Talon that signed him to that deal? Yeah. He's an idiot. So with everything that happened with Vegas, it hasn't really worked out well for him. Obviously, considering he's not even there anymore. So, anyways, little rant.
Fine. I stand corrected. The New York Islanders defeated the Pittsburgh Penguins 4-1. That to tie the series. That is not 3-1. That is 2-2. I was thinking about one other series there, but the Islanders suffocating the Penguins there, and going to be a long series.
Yeah. Oh man, I am thrilled about that. I love the peskiness and the way that the Islanders play. And how crazy was that atmosphere in that arena today? It was amazing to watch. I always forget, and I think a lot of people do, of how the fans are on the island. Because whenever you think about crazy fan bases, you're like, okay, the Predators, which was another crazy scene to look at with everybody in the stands there. But you think about the Predators, you think about Leafs, but you never really think about the Islanders, because they really do have a fantastic fan base. They're ruthless, and I love it.
Yeah, and Oliver Wahlstrom, 2 points. Jordan Eberle scored a goal. They get offense. The Islanders are able to get offense from all sorts of different places. So I suspect that's a series it's definitely going 6. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7.
I hope it goes 7. That'd be amazing. But it's either 6 or 7 for sure. And just give me more of this. The first round of the playoffs is always, majority of the time it is the best hockey. I give me more of this series.
Yeah. This, this will be a fascinating, if the Pens are eliminated here, this is a fascinating offseason for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just say that. And I'm not going to say any hot takes, but it's an absolutely fascinating offseason for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
I'll do a hot take. I'm on a roll. I'm going to keep going, Kev.
All right, hot take.
Malkin will not be a member of the Pittsburgh Penguins next year if they lose.
Ooh.
And some people might think Crosby. I think it's silly that people think that. I mean, I do understand the thought process behind it, meaning that each year that he is Pittsburgh Penguin, the less you will be able to get back for that player. And there has been talks about Chris Letang as well, being on the chopping block for the past little bit, for the past 2 years actually. So he could be wearing a different jersey next year too. Nothing is out of the realm of possibility, I don't think.
I think the Pens did need to improve that defense, though, for sure. I think that they have to. That's the one area I do think they need some work on.
And their goaltending. Christian Jarry, he is not the goaltender that they thought they have within him. And Casey DeSmith, I don't think he's quite there either. They're a good tandem. Obviously, they've gotten this far with the two of them this year, but I might look at upgrading the goaltending as well.
Yeah. And the Vegas Golden Knights are pretty close. It's now over 4-0. They are now up. They lead now 3-1 in Game 4. They're a 1-win away. Doing what they were not able to do in their history. Win in Minnesota. They didn't do it only once. They did it twice. And this looks like a series that the Vegas Golden Knights, I'm admittedly wrong, and this could certainly change, but the Vegas Golden Knights goaltending and experience has come to play, and looks like that they're on their way.
Oh, once again, experience. Talk about experience. These guys have always been in the playoffs ever since I don't think they've missed since they've been a part of the NHL. Nope. Am I right?
Nope. And they have never been eliminated in the first round.
And I just think that as much as people are wanting the Cinderella story for the Minnesota Wild, they don't quite have it this year. But going forward, the Minnesota Wild have a lot of good pieces. With that strong defense, Kaprizov, what a wonder he is! What a spectacular player. So they do have some good building blocks there, and Bill Guerin, I think, is the man for the job for sure to make this team successful.
Yeah, and Dean Evison has done a fine job in there as well as head coach. But it's just you have the experience of the Vegas Golden Knights. That's just they're finding ways to do it, and Marc-Andre Fleury is being Marc-Andre Fleury. He does it, and it's going to be hard to knock them off for sure.
Mhm.
Knocked them off for 3 straight anyway. Did you you didn't get a chance maybe just get your thoughts from last night's Winnipeg's 1-0 win. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl do not have a point in this series. The leading point getter, Devin, of this series is someone that we were going to do a Canadian draft, an all-Canadian draft. And Heidi's last defenseman pick was Tucker Poolman. And Tucker Poolman is leading this series in points.
Who? Right?
Tucker Poolman, yes.
I'm baffled that I thought this was going to be a high scoring game or high scoring series. It's been anything but. It blows my mind that McDavid and Draisaitl have not been able to find the back of the net. And it's Kevin, what has been the criticism of the Jets?
Well, the thing that we have mocked the Jets for is that 6 crew, and we've had people that have covering the Jets talking about how bad that defense was twice, and their defense has been warriors, flat out warriors. They have been outstanding.
Yep, they have. To pump my own tires, I didn't think that defense was as bad as everybody made it out to be. To be completely honest, Neil Pionk, Forbert is a warrior. Pionk is a warrior. DeMello blocking that shot with his hand was spectacular. I think he is underrated. It's baffling that defense is doing as well as it is against the top 2 of the top 5 players in this game, period. And everybody was so worried that since McDavid was left off the score sheet on the first game, that the second game was going to be a blowout of McDavid's show. But look, it wasn't. And seeing eye shot pretty much from Paul Stastny gets behind Mike Smith. And you could tell right away that Mike Smith was just livid and upset. And I fucking loved it. I loved every second of that shot of him rolling his eyes, doing what he does, blaming his defensive partners and defensemen in front of him or the players in front of him. Oh, God, it just made me so happy. And I love it. I want them to get swept. I don't think it's going to happen, but that game had more passion than the games before, or than the game before. Thankfully, God,
it was a great 1-0 is often looked at as a frowned upon here, but that was a really good game. And it's the bottom 6 for the Jets as well, and their defense that are outplaying the Oilers. I'm not saying that. I don't want to be super critical of a lot of the Oilers' defense. I mean, I think Darnell Nurse has played phenomenal in this series. It hasn't gone in for him. So I'm not like, I don't want to come out and say that the Jets are overwhelming them or anything, because they're really not. But they're playing really well. But here's the other thing with the Oilers, though. Where's Zach Kassian? Where's James Neal? Where's Alex Chason? Where the hell is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins?
I mean, Nugent-Hopkins, he's playing a good defensive game, but the offense isn't there. Kassian is Kassian. Like, realistically, he needs to be making a difference in between the ears of the Jets, and he's not doing that. Who else did you say? You said
Alex Chason.
Chason, yeah. I mean, Chason is who he is. He's a high energy guy who can be a bit of a pest, but not really. And I think that he's overrated personally. But you're right though. But this is where it gets interesting because the depth isn't there. So once again, if McDavid and Draisaitl aren't going or they can't find the back of the net, what the fuck do they have? They have nothing. They have nothing. And Peter Holland has a lot of work to do in the offseason if they get out in this first round to try and help that depth. Do you bring back Ryan Nugent-Hopkins?
He's a UFA.
Yeah. Like, does he want to come back? I wouldn't personally. The only reason why if he wanted to come back is because he thinks he has a chance. But with that entire team, I don't think they do. I really don't. Once again, if they don't have those two guys going, they have nothing.
Well, the other interesting, I guess, one of the other interesting questions, and I hear Jim Betting says he's going to be aggressive for free agency. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is a Burnaby guy.
That'd be a great pickup.
I'm just saying.
Great pickup.
I mean, I know that people would think they don't need him or whatever, but a Pedersen, Horvat, Nugent-Hopkins up the middle is not going to hurt anybody, and you can use Nugent-Hopkins in a number of different ways. But I mean,
absolutely,
yeah.
And he's a good goal killer too.
Yep,
he's a good two-way player. That if he's put in the right situation, he can score. And he's just been like the odd man out pretty much, trying to play with even with McDavid and Draisaitl when they're playing together. Nugent-Hopkins isn't on that line. He has to drive his own line. He's not strong enough to do that. But if that's the case, if he does go to Vancouver, that's a damn good pickup for sure. But the other thing that I would like to talk about is, Pierre-Luc Dubois, he played 13 minutes. He had 4 hits and 0 shots and 1 block. He needs to be better. He needs to be more of an impact player. I mean, having 4 hits. He was third on team in hits. So he needs to be better as a player. But if Ehlers can come back, that'll be a massive bump to that team too.
Yeah, to be fair, Mark Scheifele doesn't have a point in this series either. So, I mean, if we're going to, and I don't want to be, I don't want to be sitting here and mock, because mocking McDavid and Draisaitl and criticizing them, because I don't think McDavid has played terribly. It's just, I think to me, the problem is when you're not getting, when you don't have to, you're not getting scoring from other places. It allows your team, it allows the Jets to focus on defending McDavid and Draisaitl. And I mean, now you have to decide if you're going to split them up or you're going to keep them together or not. And which is a fascinating, that's their problem. But, I also, but I think the Jets need, I think their Scheifele and Wheeler, not Wheeler's been bad, but they need, their top players need to produce as well.
Yep, absolutely. They got very, very lucky within, the fashion that they won. Once again, it was a seating eye shot from the half boards, and it found its way in the net. That's why you need to put pucks on net all the time. But you are right. The top players on Winnipeg need to be stepping up too.
Yep. So that will be fascinating. That is tomorrow. We have some comments. We'll just quickly run through these. No, we are not. Are you guys Pen fans? No, we're not. But I mean, we like to talk about everything else here, and I don't like to be centric to one specific team myself. So that's part of the news. Parallax Prophecy, Kulikov, the former Jet with the screen, of course, still on the payroll. And how are you guys not panicking? Benning at the helm for free agent again. Oh no. Well, that's something we will discuss tomorrow morning. We'll be back with the Sunday regular episode at 11 Pacific, 12 Mountain, where we'll talk about Jim Benning's press conference. We'll talk about Tree's press conference. We'll get Sean and Tyler and Chris's perspective of everything that's going on. Lots going on elsewhere. And then tomorrow night, I will be planning. I'm not to recap. We'll recap the Winnipeg Jets Edmonton Oilers game 3. See where that's at. So we're doing a doubleheader tomorrow, or I'm planning to do it. The podcast is doing a doubleheader. I will plan to do a doubleheader. Devin, your game time decision, whatever you do, is
Yep.
Your call.
I will be a game time decision. Yes.
Okay, fair enough. How do we follow you?
I'm at Gordhouse09 on Twitter.
And Sean is BeardyCanuck03. Tyler is TNOBLE. Chris Schneids, SCHNAIDZ. I am KEVOLE. Podcast_hockey. Facebook.com, The Hockey Podcast. YouTube.com, The Hockey Podcast. We're back tomorrow morning. Doubleheader tomorrow. So we'll see you then. Thanks, everyone. We will talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.